Okay. Hey, everybody. It is Tuesday. It is 6 p.m. And so you know what time it is? It is time for Me Powered with Rhonda, where everything you need is already inside of you. And tonight we've got an incredible show. We've got a great guest, and we're going to jump right in today. But my guest, her name is Jillian Bullock. If this is your first time tuning in, however, we're going to let you know how to tune in with us no matter where you're watching from. So, Lady J, can you tell them how they can tune in live with us this evening?
If this is your first time tuning into the show or to JQLM Radio and you would like to share with your family, friends, and followers on all the different ways that they can tune in, be sure to tell them to download the JQLM Radio app on their Apple or Android devices. You can also listen live to JQLM Radio 24/7, 365 via Amazon Alexa, TuneIn app, the Stream and Simple Radio app, and a host of other platforms of which you can find located on our website, where you can also listen live at egoentertainmentnet.com. Also, don't forget to follow, like, and share us. We do follow back. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at JQLM Radio. You can also connect with Ego Entertainment Network at EgoEntNet. That's EgoEntNet on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter Also, connect with us on LinkedIn at Ego Entertainment Network. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our YouTube channel, Ego TV Network, at youtube.com/Ego TV Network.
All right. And you can follow me on all of my platforms as well. On Facebook, the show has its own page. It is at Me Powered. And my personal page is at Rhonda Thompson. You can follow us on Instagram at me.powered. And everybody knows me as Rhonda TNATL. We also have our LinkedIn, Rhonda L. Thompson, and YouTube, Rhonda L. Thompson. And we've got our website, which will be coming very soon. It will be mepowered.co. So make sure you keep watching and stay tuned for that, because we're going to have one-stop shop for everything there. So those are all the ways that you can connect with me. And if you would like to be on the show, you can just go ahead and send me an email to mepoweredwithrhonda@gmail. All right, so we're going to jump right in today, because tonight is a little bit different than we normally do it. It's going to be a little bit shorter. So I'm telling you guys, now's the time to listen to the show. Get everybody around you, because we're going to shorten it a little bit this evening, so you don't want to miss anything. But my guest tonight, her name is Jillian Bullock, and I want everybody to welcome her. So Jillian, are you with us?
I am. Hi.
Hey, how are you doing?
Doing fantastic. Thank you.
It is so good to have you here. And I love how we met. So do you want to tell everybody how we met and just give them just a little bit of your background, and we'll jump right into your story?
I had seen you do an interview with Nakia Dillard. He's a friend of mine. We're both from Philadelphia, and we both, are good friends in the filmmaking industry. He's actor, producers, And I said, wow, that was a very cool, informative interview. And I have a manager and everything, and she's very selective of what shows I go on. So I had to let her see it first. And then she said, yeah, that's a good show for you. So then, contact reached out, and then here we are.
Yep, here we are. And then we started talking.
Yep.
And found out, girl,
yeah,
we got a lot in common.
Yep.
And it was incredible. And thank you so much for reaching out to me. And thank you, even that day, all the wonderful things you said. And that really warmed my heart, and especially kudos out to your manager as well, because I mean, to be picked from all the other people, because you told me that you get several people trying to get you on the show, and before this I didn't even know who you were, and because of Nakia's show we find out we got a lot in common, but you actually sought us out, and it was just boom. It was just divine connection, and so I am thrilled. I am thrilled. So thank you for
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So we got so much to cover. I don't even know where to. Okay, well, I know I like what your page says. Well, what I put on the flyer was, this is just to get everybody's appetite, going here. You saw your first mob hit at 9 years old, and you went from Crack Street to Wall Street to Hollywood.
Exactly.
That's where we're going, y'all. On this journey. And there was a whole lot of stuff in between that we didn't put on the flyer. So where do you want to start as far as telling them a little bit about you and what you do now?
Well, I can get into it because, people probably like, how she see a mob hit at 9,
Right.
Let me explain that part. I grew up with my mom, African-American, siblings, and then white stepfather who was in the Italian mafia in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. So he raised me since I went to the movies every Sunday. That was our thing, our little special thing. And I had fallen asleep in the back of the car. He was, so I was asleep. I wake up, I see my stepfather across the street in the alley with one of my uncles, the Italian uncles. And they're arguing back and forth. And then I see my stepfather pull a gun out and shoot my Uncle Joey. I'm like, what? So when he starts coming back across the street, I said, I better pretend I'm still asleep because I definitely shouldn't have saw that. But yeah, that was it. That was the first time I had ever seen anything so traumatic like that. Because to me, my stepfather was the sweetest man in the world. I never seen him raise his voice or anything like that. But there you go.
Right. Yeah. And you were 9, and that caught me, and I was like, get out of here. And then we found out as far as my dad and different things and stuff, and I was like, we're sisters on more than one level. Okay. So very cool there. All right. And then so are you originally from Philly? Have you always been there?
Yeah, been in Philadelphia. Like I said, raised up, and it's just an interesting life being with a mobster's life, because I saw a lot. And once he knew that I saw the murder, he explained how things work and why he had to do what he had to do, and so then from there we became even closer, tighter. At 10 or 11, he started teaching me how to shoot guns, and he started teaching me. And then when I had been raped at age 10, I didn't tell anybody but him. Wow. And then the rapist was found dead the next morning. I mean,
oh wow. Okay. So that's a big to do right there. So you were raped at 10 years old. Mm-hmm. So was that like somebody that you knew?
Yeah, it's a family friend. And like I said, I didn't know who else to tell but him, my stepfather. And he said, I'll take care of it. In my mind, being traumatized, I didn't know what he meant by that, but I should have known considering who he is. But yeah, they found him the next morning with one bullet to his head. So that was that.
Okay. So did you ever get counseling for that, or did you ever tell anybody?
No, just kept it in, held it in. I did start getting sick a lot, and then I ended up being hospitalized, and I had something called a stomach ulcer, and the doctors, it's from worrying and stress. And my mom was like, well, what if she has to be stressed for? She's 10,
Right.
But she didn't know I had the rape had happened. She didn't know I had seen the mob hit.
Right.
Very traumatic, probably dealing with PTSD as a kid. Don't know it. And I was a mess. But eventually around 14, I had to get counseling when I beat up a kid in school really bad. And, I had to get counseling for anger management. So.
Okay. And then, so I know people listening are probably like, wait, what? and we're gonna go a lot deeper, guys, and it's gonna be like tidal waves. It's gonna be boom, 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 because we have so much to cover in such a short time. But you you also shared with me with your background. There were several traumatic things that happened to you, and which you came through, which you're here now, thank goodness. And you've dealt with several different things. You've dealt with several traumas, which is why I'm so glad that you're on this show, because I counsel, and as we started talking, about trauma, abuse, and all that other stuff, and like I know my audience, and they've been through everything you've been through. Somebody in my audience has been through, maybe not collectively all at the time, but that's why I was like, you would be such a great guest. And then to show where you are now, because you're such a success and you're building so much. And it's like, there's so many wonderful things happening now for you, which I thought this would be a great fit.
Okay.
So thank you for that. And thank you for, just being willing to share, because a lot of people won't even still, certain things will go to the grave with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that, because, I deal with mental health as a transformation coach and a life coach and everything. And so I understand what people are going through. And I think it helps when I go out to do speaking engagements. It helps that I have had these experiences, because people in the audience feel as though she relates to me, and she understands what I'm going through. And it makes me easier to help them if I can, and it's been so much, like you said, I've been through that. Somebody's that audience is like, yeah, that happened to me, or somebody, yeah, that happened to me. So it makes me more relatable.
Yeah. And it may even be closer than you think. It may not just be the audience. It could be even the people that are like putting the show together, the people involved there. So you have no idea how close it is. And, and I know the people and stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, this would be really, really good. And Jana, thank you, Jana. She checked in and she said, great show already. That is my friend from Austin, Texas. She is a supporter out of this world. I don't know what I did to deserve Jana in my life, but she is a true supporter of everything. And so thanks for, tuning in. Now, okay, so that's a lot to happen between 9 and 10, and at 14 you beat somebody up. And you said we could talk about anything, right?
Oh, yeah.
So okay, so tell everybody what you started to do, like between your teen, like how did you handle, what was your coping mechanism at that time?
I really didn't have one. I had started taking Taekwondo, and Taekwondo is supposed to help you, even though I was looking at it for self-defense reasons, it still there's supposed to be the positive side of it, that you have to learn how to control your emotions and not lash out. I was lashing out a lot. So it was horrible. So I started taking karate, Taekwondo when I was 12, but I still had so much anger issues. Like I said, by 14, I beat up this guy so bad that I broke his nose, and his family wanted to sue me. I could go to juvie or something like that. But again, my stepfather, being who he is, he made the family offer they couldn't refuse. So they just backed up off of that one. But, after that, he said, you really need to we got to get you some counseling. But at this time, my mom still didn't know what was going on with me.
Right.
Only my stepfather knew. Yeah. So I started getting counseling at my school, and, that helped some. But I was just so angry. I was just so angry. But
yeah, and you were dealing with a lot of stuff, and like on your website, because the first thing I did when you contacted me is I checked your your website, like you said. You're like, hey, here's my site. And I tell you what, your one page that just gives an overview of you, I was like, stop it. You got everything right there, like boom, 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 boom. And, so at 14, you got into that fight. What happened when you were 15?
Yeah, my stepfather had died when I was 15, the monster stepfather. And that, again, that threw me into a depressed state, because he and I was so close that, so my mom got together with a new guy, and this guy was abusive. We moved to Florida. At that time, I had my black belt, and we moved to Florida. And one day I was just sick and tired of him beating on her. I was just so sick of seeing it that I jumped in the fight. And being a black belt, I beat up my stepfather.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking my mom was gonna be like, "Thank God somebody helped me and jumped in to help me." No, it didn't have that quite that effect. She got angry at me. She was so angry that she kicked me out the house. She said, "Get out. Don't ever come back. If you do, I'll call the cops." Because as a black belt, my hands are
Yeah.
registered as lethal weapons, and I could have really got in trouble. She had
Mhm.
turned me in. So she kicked me out, told me never to come back. I was 15 in Orlando, Florida, didn't know anyone, by myself in the
Mhm.
streets,
Right.
homeless.
Yeah. And that in itself is, I can't even imagine what, that was like, but then you had to do something to survive,
Yeah, I
rightfully
mean,
so.
I was trying to do it on my own. I was trying
Mhm.
to just sleep in the alleyway, sleep in the park, sleep in abandoned buildings, beg money for food, do the
Mhm.
things homeless people do. But I got tired of guys, bums trying to reach me at night and everything like that. It just got really hard out there. So
Mhm.
one day this madam comes up to me. She says, "Listen, I can make sure you get 3 meals in a cot. You definitely have a safe place to stay. Um, you have protection because we had a pimp. We'd have a pimp,
Mhm.
obviously." And you get a little bit of money, some clothes, and everything like that. And at first, I was like, "She got to be out of her damn mind. I'm not
Right.
going to be no prostitute." My stepfather said
Mhm.
I was going to be a filmmaker one day, so I have
Mhm.
to keep focus on that, even though I'm homeless. So,
Right.
but eventually, I saw a girl who's around my age one day. She got killed right in front of me. She got killed,
Mhm. Oh, wow.
and I was like, I have no choice but to
Mhm.
do what I have to do to survive, get off these streets, because I'm gonna end up like this girl.
Right.
So I had to take the madam up on her offer.
Okay.
So,
And so that, I mean, what is that like when you're 15, you're out there trying your best to take care of yourself. Now you're prostituting. Now, your stepdad, the one that you cared about, is gone and your mom turned her back. I mean, so like
yeah.
at that point, I can't imagine how you felt. And you turned to a
Uh,
couple of ways to cope.
Yeah, drugs and alcohol was
Mhm.
the way to go. I mean, all the girls did it, and they introduced me to it because they said, you have to cope
Yeah,
with this kind of life, which we all hated.
right.
Um, Most of the girls were runaways, and this is how we survived. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, and I want to talk about that for a minute because um a lot of times people judge people that run away. A lot of times people
mhm,
judge people that whether they're prostituting, whether they're trafficked,
yeah,
whether they're male, whether they're female, doesn't matter. And they
mhm,
don't understand. Like, if so your home is ripped out from under you, and or whether they go to a gang or whether they go to something else. So that madam at that time, when she's offering you 3 meals in a cot and protection to a 15-year-old, you know, that's the mindset people, they have to be able to envision in
right,
order to understand the choices that were made. Because in that point, Jillian, it's basic survival. You're doing whatever you have to survive.
right,
And people say that nonchalantly, but you literally were fighting for your life.
right.
And so I want you to explain a little bit how, even though you were doing something you really didn't want to do, there was comfort in knowing that your needs were taken care of, and help people understand how your mind switches on you, like for that. Um,
Well,
you know,
all the girls that were there were all under 20 years old.
oh
every,
wow.
every girl that was there was under 20. So the madam, in a sense, became like our mother, in a
Hmm.
sense. She made sure we were protected. She made sure she taught us about the Johns have to use condoms. You don't have sex with them if they don't wear condoms. You get the money up front. I mean, she was like, she called it prostitution 101. She was like,
Right.
it was like you don't kiss the John because this is not intimacy.
Hmm.
You're having sex. You're just, screwing. So
Right.
no kissing. So it was like we all had to learn it, and we all had to know our roles, and we helped each other. You know, we cried
Mhm.
a lot because you're scared, and
Mhm.
if you got pregnant, you got kicked out. That means you didn't use a condom. You got kicked
Yeah.
out.
Wow.
So we all helped each other because the madam, in a sense, she treated us well.
Mhm.
Um, she made sure that the pimp didn't smack us around. you
Mhm.
know,
That's good.
even though if we got out of line, he had to smack some of the girls around if they got out of line, like they didn't get the money up front or something like
Mhm.
that. Yeah, you got smacked around or something. Or if a John complained about your services, you got smacked around. So,
Mm.
um,
Okay.
so that's just how it was, and we understood the assignment. We had to do what we had to do.
Right. And that in essence, that is your family at that time. And
Yeah.
that is the place that they've accepted you.
Mhm.
They have provided your basic needs, which you weren't getting. They have provided the security that you weren't getting. They
Right.
provided the closeness that you were looking for because you got involved with the girls and you guys become a family.
Yeah.
And and like I really want parents to hear that, and I want them to know that your kid is not this bad kid.
Right.
Your kid
Right.
just
Right.
looks like you. They have no other options. And
Exactly. You have to do. You're trying to survive the best way you can,
right.
until hopefully you can come out of it. Or some girls didn't. Some girls OD'd off of
Mhm.
drugs. Some girls got pregnant. Some girls got venereal diseases. Any of those things, you get kicked out if you get something
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah.
And that was sad because then you're losing a family member in a sense because they're
Yeah.
gone, and it's very traumatic. It is a very traumatic experience considering what I have dealt with so far between 9 and 15.
Right. Right. I can't believe we already got to take this break, and then today's show is going to be even shorter than normal because you have another engagement, which we're going to talk about, which is a good thing
Right.
that you got to get to. But we'll be right back. We're taking a couple of break real fast, but we're talking to Jillian Bullock, and her story is freaking amazing. There's more. We'll be back. All right. We'll be right back.
Have you subscribed yet to the free bi-monthly digital interactive Ego magazine? No? Well, head on over to www.egoentertainmentnet.com to subscribe now. This magazine is all about supporting and showcasing excellence in communities everywhere, from music, arts and culture, relationships, education, politics, celebrities, food, and so much more. While you're flipping through the pages, just click on the buttons and social icons and you'll be taken to a whole other world behind the articles and ads. At Ego Entertainment, everyone is a star. There is something in it for everyone. And we hope you are positively impacted by what you see and will continue to support Ego Magazine. Track CBPD by Arulo. What if you had the ability to encourage yourself just by putting on a piece of clothing? It's possible when you shop GDFAM. God Didn't Forget About Me apparel. Shop dresses, t-shirts, sets, jumpsuits, sweatsuits, and more for men and women. When you look good, you feel good. And when you can remind yourself that you have not been forgotten, you feel great. Shop GDFAM now at GodDidn'tForgetAboutMe.com. Music. Powerful Advertising Track by Anton Vlasov on Pixabay.com. You asked, Ego delivered. Ego Entertainment Network presents Ego Entertainment Group, serving the United States. For independent music artists and actors, services include branding and marketing, management services, publicist services, and distribution. Contact Ego today at 331-465-4279 or at egoentertainmentnet.com. Activate your ego today. Music. Bounce by Coma Media on Pixabay.com.
All right, we are back. And I also want to let everybody know my workbook is available. Just got this published not too long ago. This is Whose Eyes Do You See Yourself Through? How to Make Sense of Your Life and See More Clearly. It's available on Amazon for $24.99. And in it, this is an interactive workbook, so you can fill it out. And this is just like being in a session with me where I help you put the pieces together and come up with seeing yourself through your own lens and your own view rather than somebody else's. So go ahead and pick that up today. We're talking to Jillian Bullock. And so we covered the mob, we covered Crack Street, we got Wall Street and Hollywood to go through real quick.
Okay.
So let's fast forward because I want to get to the good stuff of where you are now. And so what's the Wall Street part?
I ended up being a reporter for the Wall Street Journal. So I was covering.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and that was a big coup, I guess, because where I came from, like a hood rat off the streets, and the Wall Street Journal is like one of the most prestigious papers in the world. And I got an internship there. I had a mentor, Frank Allen, who helped me with my English, because even though I was like in community college by this time, he was like, "You're on like a 9th grade English level." I was like, "Wow, that's rough."
Okay.
But he helped mentor me and make sure I was writing, because I didn't write an article for that newspaper for like a year because I was so far behind in English. So, but he mentored me every step of the way until I got good at reporting, good at going out to interview people. Obviously, the English had to be up to standard. So I stayed there all the while I was through community college, and then I switched over to a university. And he was there the whole step of the way, helping me and showing up higher and higher and higher.
That's wonderful. Isn't it amazing how, people are put in our pathways to get us to our next step in our journey? Isn't it amazing how people just show up like that?
Yeah, this is very kind gentleman, very kind.
That's awesome. All right. So now we're going to get into the Hollywood part, because part of why you got to go tonight is because you got a call with Hollywood. So, all right. So you become a filmmaker, and you're not just any filmmaker, Miss Ma'am. You are an award-winning filmmaker, and you've got your company and all the different things that you do. You're a speaker, you're an advocate. So let's talk about that and how you took all those tragedies and it prepared you, and then for what you do now and what's in the midst now, what's being created right now.
Yeah, I just wanted to fulfill my stepfather's wish. He not allowed to see my name up in lights that he wanted, but I still kept going. And, it's been great. I am the CEO of Jillian Bullock Enterprises, a film and entertainment production company. And, I do take all my past issues and my past experiences, plus other people that I talk to, because I'm fighting for the underdog, basically. Right. And my movies reflect that. My movies deal with hard-hitting topics, homelessness, drug addiction, mental illness, rape, and it deals with that. Of course, I have to do it in an educational but an entertaining way, because it's not documentaries, they're features. Yeah. And people want to know, how can you make that entertaining, those subjects? But I do. You got to watch the movies and see. But, I'm the writer, producer, director. I'm also a fight choreographer, because now I have 2 black belts, one in Taekwondo, one in Wing Chun.
Nice.
And so, I do the fight choreography on the sets. And it's easier for me to write the fight scenes because I know.
How to do it, right?
So I try to, make movies that, like I said, are entertaining, empowering. But also, I want people to think when they come out and see in the theater or seeing it on Netflix or something, wherever they're seeing it, thinking about something. It might how to change the perspective about something. And that's hard to do sometimes. I'm not into, someone asked me, I usually get interviewed and they ask me, you ever do anything like romantic comedies or something? I said, no. It's just not me, not my genre. So I usually stick with dramas and thrillers. That's where I usually stick to. So, we always say, write what you know. So
yeah. And when we were talking, and you and I, our lives are very, very similar. And when I found out you were a filmmaker, I'm like, what did I say to you when I found out you were a filmmaker?
I need to do something with you because you got some story you was talking about.
Yes, I said I have been looking for a filmmaker that I just felt was, because I come across a lot of filmmakers, but it's just like, there's just something not, the connection, there's just something off. Okay. But when you and I started talking, I was like, oh my God, because we've been through a lot of the same things. And it takes somebody who has been through it to understand when I share with you what I want to do, it's like you have to be able to picture that. And unless you've been through something like that, you can't picture it. No matter what they say, you can't really picture it. And or they don't want to be as raw as something is like, oh no, that's a little too, no, that's real life. That's exactly what it was. And I'm not sugarcoating it. It's gonna piss a lot of people off, but you know, it's truth is stranger than fiction. And you know, between you and I, we don't need to make up not one daggone thing. And when you hear Lady J's story, girl, you don't even know Lady J's story. It's like, whew, there's a trilogy right here between the three of us, powerhouses. And trust me, we got content for you for like ever.
Forever.
So, but with your film, all right, so you your call today, your life story is being made into a feature film for Hollywood.
It's in development. You're working on, you got to get with the right producers, because a lot of producers have come at me. Like I told you that somebody from Lifetime came at me and I was like, did you hear my life story? We're talking, violence, sex, drugs, and all. I said, it's not Lifetime. It's not, I can't water it down. We can't make it PG. It's going to be a hard R, it's going to be a hard R. So, so, a lot of people come at me, producers come at me, and a lot of them have to turn down because they're not a good fit for me. They're just not, either in their casting vision, who they see for cast or this, whatever the case may be. I have the ultimate say. And I remember years ago when I was a reporter for the Wall Street Journal, I interviewed Sylvester Stallone, and he was doing one of those Rocky movies in Philly, and I wasn't supposed to, but I started talking about my life story a little bit, but he was listening. I was like, oh, okay. And one thing he said to me, he said, listen, he said, whatever you do, he said, you have to find the right people that ain't gonna, he said, F up your film, F up your story, and don't sell it. Because they wanted to get Rocky from him. They wanted him to sell it for all this, much money. And he was like, nope. He said, because you have to tell it, it's your story. You have to tell it your way. And he said, I wasn't a filmmaker then, but now years later, I understand. I see some other true life stories, and I go back and I read the book or read the, how it starts.
They're way off. Yeah,
it's horrible. And I was like, I'm not doing that until I find the exact person that I feel comfortable with, who sees the vision. Then we can work together.
Yeah, and that happens a lot of times. That like I remember seeing a interview with the real Michael Orr. He is furious about Blindside. He said that is so off from his life, but they added
Sandra Bullock. That was Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, that is so off that there's so many things that never even happened, but they just threw it in there, hoping to make it better. And it's like, and he's furious with it. He doesn't even support it. He doesn't even like talk about it because it's so off, but it's based on true life. So I love the fact that you're sticking to your guns and you're sticking to your story. And you're right. There's so many things to consider. Casting, who's going to play you, because it can't be this person that doesn't even look like you, or this like ultra glitzy, like today, fake ass, fake everything with that wasn't you. So it's like, it's got to be the right fit for everything. And I'm glad that you're sticking to your guns about that. So
it has to be authentic and it has to be real. And, I wrote the book, Here I Stand. So that tells the story. But I also wrote the script. So, we have to go in with that. I would have to be, if I'm not directing it, I have to definitely be one of the producers on it. And I have the last say on what that film looks like. That's negotiating. And, I passed up a lot of offers, a lot of money, a lot of offers, but I don't want to be sitting up there looking at the movie like, it's horrible.
Right.
And I allowed this to happen. I would be so mad at myself.
That's good. And, and I tell people all the time, your story needs to be told. And it's that story, the one that you're afraid of, the one that you don't want nobody to know, the one that's going to cost your reputation, the one that's going to cost family members. You're going to lose, respect from people. that's the story that needs to be told, because that's the story that will save somebody's life. And you don't water that down, no matter
Right.
how uncomfortable somebody is. Or they try to say, well, that didn't really happen. Or I was there too. And you're exaggerating, or you don't remember like I remember. No, it's the truth is they're uncomfortable with it and they don't want to say it, and they want to pacify themselves by getting you to water it down so they can accept it.
Right.
No, you don't do that. You don't do
No.
that with your story. You don't do that with your healing. You don't do that with your journey. It doesn't matter if somebody else doesn't understand or they're uncomfortable with
Right.
your experience. This is
Right.
your experience. And yeah, so I'm so proud of you for that.
Thank you.
Now I know, gosh, it's gonna go. What do you got coming up, and
Right.
that we can look out for, and how do people reach you by social media?
Well, right now we're in post-production on a film called A Cup Full of Crazy. It's a psychological thriller that deals with mental illness and the path to recovery. So
I need to get in on that one some kind of way. You need to pencil me in on that one.
So yeah, so we have that coming up, and we're going to edit it, and then we're going to have a screening in Philadelphia early 2023. And after that, I'm just deciding on if I'm going to go straight to get a distribution deal. We're going to do the festival route, the film festival route. Not sure yet. I got like 8 distributors that are waiting, so I might just have to go straight to the distribution route as soon as it's done, and then move on to the next project. So
Awesome.
So you're always doing a few projects in development.
Awesome.
That's what you do because you're filmmakers.
Right. Now I'm going to ask. Now, how do people reach you on social media?
Oh, just Facebook. Just put in Jillian Bullock on Facebook. LinkedIn the same way. Just put my name in. Instagram same way. Just put Jillian Bullock in. I'll pop up.
All right. And your website?
jbullockenterprises.com.
And you'll see everything there. Everything you do, what you got going on, and you'll see that one sheet I'm talking about with all the boom, 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 the bullets. Yeah. That's like
they can see the trailer for A Cup Full of Crazy on there, and other stuff I worked on that they can check out. Yes, stuff. I'm excited. I'll head to Hollywood next year and relocate there because it's time. I'm trying to get an agent, and the agent means you got to be here. You can't be 3,000 miles away. But I'm trying to work with you. Right. So got to travel, got to go.
I understand that. Okay, so I want to make sure we hit this as well. So for the person that is in the midst of the stuff that you've been through, some part of it, and they feel like there's no way out, what do you say to them? What's your advice to them?
Well, it depends on where they're at in their journey. Therapy, definitely therapy. I probably wouldn't be alive if I didn't get therapy, because you're just dealing with so much pain in your life, and you just don't. Usually your friends and family, they might mean well, but they're not trained. They're not trained professionals to help you through that. I also do yoga and meditation like 5 days a week. That helps me tremendously, helps me just have more of a centered peace, because back of me is that we learned this in one of my psychology courses, that everybody has the David banner and the hawk within them. Everyone has that, some more than others. I'm more of the others. It's still in there. That hawk is still in there. It still can come out. So in order for that not to happen, I still have to do a lot of work on myself every day. So someone who's going through this, you got to get with a therapist or a life coach or something like that, as a counselor. Yoga, meditation, I'm telling you, that just calms your mind. It calms your soul, your spirit. Do that first thing in the morning when you get up. You'll be great for the day. It helps. It has been shown medically that it helps alleviate anxiety, stress, and depression.
Yep.
So, you gotta do work on self-care and things that are going to help empower. Plus, eating healthy and exercise is another way. If you're eating crap all the time, it does mess with your mental state as well as the physical state. People don't really get that, but I try to teach them that. And exercise, you got to move that body. That helps a lot, again, with depression. because even if it's just out walking, you get out walking and just, you can think and,
Mm-hmm.
one big thing I tell people to do when I'm talking to people, journaling.
Yeah.
You journal them thoughts in the morning. You just write it out, what you're feeling, what you're thinking, what you plan to do for the next day, for that day, and
Right.
what you plan for your future. These are all different tips that can help people.
Yep. And that's good. And you went right into something else I was going to say, and I know we only got a couple minutes left. But for that person that is wanting to be a filmmaker or screenwriter and they're writing the stuff down, maybe they're trying to put their life together.
Mm-hmm.
What would you tell them as far as how to format it? Is there any big thing that they should not do?
For screenwriting?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a whole nother show.
Okay. Well, we're going to have to do a whole
No,
nother
it's just because, I teach screenwriting courses. I teach it.
Okay.
And it's like a whole thing we go through.
Well,
for
we're
2
definitely going to have
hours.
to do another show because this 45 minutes, we don't even got the full hour with you that we normally do because we got like 4 or 5 minutes left. But
I mean, I would love to come back on. We can just do a
Yeah.
screenwriting tutorial. But it's a lot. It's in depth, and I do teach that, so I know it's a lot.
Yeah, and we can talk and we can break down each topic. Maybe we can do just one show. And I know this is needed, a show just on rape.
Sexual assault,
coming
rape,
through it, sexual assault, and then you're a fighter, so how to protect yourself, what you can do. Yeah, so let's do that, Jillian. Let's schedule a show just specifically on rape and sexual assault and in different things that women can do and men too, because especially if they're being trafficked, especially younger boys, what they can do to protect themselves. So
I mean, I do that a lot. I have this platform that I teach. Is called 100 Red Flag Warnings that I teach to females, and it is about what the red flags you should see in the beginning, so you don't end up in a bad situation.
A statistic, yeah. Okay. Well, very good. Well, I'm excited, and I know I have to let you go for your call. I appreciate you being here, and guys, trust me, we're gonna have a lot more shows with Miss Jillian because it's just too much to cram into one session. But thank you for coming and
thank you for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. And share this, guys, and get in touch with this woman. I mean, she is a resource queen. So she's got so many things that can really help you. And I thank you for just sharing a tiny bit with us tonight. If you want to be on the show, like I said in the beginning, you can go ahead and email me, get in touch with me just like she did. And you can, my email is mepoweredwithrhonda@gmail.com, or you can just call me directly, 470-557-0515. If you need a counselor, a coach, speaker, you can also reach out to me. My website is www.totalbreakthroughcenter.com and available for everything I do. I specialize in trauma, addiction, abuse, LGBT, grief specialist, all kinds of stuff. So definitely can help you out there. And Jillian, you and I are going to be doing so much more together on so many levels. But thank you, everybody. And thank you for everybody. And I saw Vincent, you signed in your comment, good evening and stuff. That's another supporter too. So thanks for watching. And we will see you next week, guys. You have a great day. And thank you for tuning in. Remember, everything you need is already inside of you. Have a great night.